This VFL stream is brought to you by Maxxis Tyres. Performance when it's wanted.
It's history today in the VFLW as the Sydney Swans make their first ever appearance in the competition. They have 18 AFLW listed players and are set to take on the Western Bulldogs here at Whitten Oval in their VFLW debut. The GWS Giants also making their debut across town and looking forward to seeing what these New South Wales clubs can do over the next 5 weeks. This is Rebel VFLW Round 3 action between the Western Bulldogs and the Sydney Swans at Whitten Oval. Val Febo, my name, and joining me alongside me in commentary today, Mick O'Neill. Welcome.
Great to be here, Val, in a beautiful setting for a game of football today. The ground's in perfect condition, the city skyline in the background, and as you mentioned, there's a great deal of interest in this game, particularly from a Sydney perspective with the riches of talent they have on the field today.
Certainly do. The Dogs winning last week against Casey to get themselves on the board in 2024 after a first-up loss to North Melbourne. They're sitting in 7th position. Sydney looking to make a statement early in their somewhat pre-season. The tap came out from Hamilton. Soccering away, or trying to, was Gardner. Getting in there was Hardingham, and we'll get another stoppage. A lot of talent out there, as you said, Mick, for Sydney. And they'll look to really push and prod the Western Bulldogs today, and they can make the first foray forward. They go towards attacking 50. And running onto it was Beraldson. The pressure came from Courtney Ugle, the vice-captain for the Bulldogs, and we'll get a throw in.
Free kick. Not to Ugle, but umpire saying for last touched, I believe. Was that correct? It was in a handball attempt, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. So the kick forward for the Bulldogs, but beautifully done from Hamilton. That's an intriguing ruck battle today against Hardingham, who is an imposing figure on the ground. And now the Swans can move it forward. Brown gets it off to Beraldson, who keeps it to the near side. So they're on the board already. Montana Beraldson, 6 AFLW games. This is her 6th VFLW game. She played 5 with Box Hill, 25-year-old.
Getting out the front of the contest twice already, Sydney, with their running power.
Yep. Ball spills out. Falling over was Hamilton. Hardingham in there again. Really congested. Kennedy trying to barge through. A little falcon there off the face of Ugle. Hardingham again at the bottom of it. Gets it out. Kennedy wrestles it out and does really nicely, but a slight hand in there. Comes out to Brown. Brown inside the 50. Goes under the foot of Giselle Davies. Ugle, the vice-captain and former Bomber, gets it out towards Livingston, but it goes out of play, and the lasso means that Sydney will get last touch and they'll go back inside 50, you'd think, through Paris McCarthy, the Irish woman.
Yeah, one-on-one's ahead of the ball here, so happy to go long, I would expect.
Inside 50. Dropped there by Sarah Skinner. We'll get another stoppage, you'd think. So, interesting start. Sydney have had it all their own way so far. The thud down comes. These repeat stoppages and repeat entries. Dom Carbone in there for the Dogs, but it comes out. And the kick from Klingbeil is smothered, and we'll get another throw in just on the intersection of the 50 for the Swans and the boundary.
Yeah, they're getting their hands on the ball first in the contest, Sydney, but the Bulldogs are doing a good job in applying pressure and keeping the ball inside the contest, and they're getting repeat stoppages. So they're doing well up until this point, 3 minutes in.
They defend very well, the Bulldogs. I called their game a couple of weeks ago against North Melbourne, and they had a lot to work with there, but here's Skinner. She fell over, went in with a second effort, did really well. Hardingham, and now Jamie Tabb. Kicked 3 goals last week. Kicks it long, and now the race is on. Isadora McClay, she's there. What a towering figure she is. She gets the handball off. They've got an opportunity. The kick came forward. Where will the bounce go? Solitis down there. She slips. But the pressure equally as good from the Bulldogs up forward.
Transferred that ball very well, the Bulldogs. Just unlucky the bounce, or the kick inside 50 didn't bounce more centrally. They would have run into open goal then.
McClay tried to get the tap down, but goes in with his second effort kick. 2 goals last week. Carbone kept it in and then somehow went through for a behind. Bounced at right angles that I'm sure Nathan Lyon would be happy with. Dom Carbone listed as 54, but playing in the number 51 like she did a couple of weeks ago. And that kick, well, slipping over at the worst possible time. The Swans, and the pressure came immediately, and Georgia Livingston takes the intercept mark. And will have the first purposeful shot on goal, you'd think. She wants to run around. She does. Livingston, the kick right to the teeth of goal. It comes over the top. There's a free kick paid for a block. And it's going to go the way of the Swans.
That was a little unlucky. Bulldogs forward there in was just protecting the space, but umpire said no attempt to play on the ball.
Kick into the middle. Only goes as far as Dom Carbone. Tanya Kennedy's there as well. Gets the handball away. Now they can move it forward. Sarah Grunden, that is a beautiful kick. Cynthia Hamilton played on a bit too quickly, and the smother was exquisite. But the Swans are still there. Ham, the captain, dribbles towards goal. The race is on. Handball away cautiously from Ashak. But the tackle came, no holding the ball. Now it's holding the ball. No, in the back.
Yeah, just lingered in the tackle a little bit long there. That's a late-ish call. Was a drop kick coming out of defence then. Could have easily been called.
Probably should have been holding the ball first before anything
disposal.
else, yeah. But the kick, not so good. And Sydney will get that shot on goal, you would think. And it's Montana Beraldson yet again. So she had the first shot.
You might hear in the sound effects, Mike, Sarah Grunden's got a large gathering of family and friends supporting her today, right next to our commentary position, so she's sure to get lots of support.
So, Montana Beraldson.
Struck that well off the boot.
It looked okay, but just drifted to the near side and off hands, through for a behind. So the Swans leading it, sort of soccer scores at the moment. 2-1. 6 minutes gone, 20-minute quarters, of course, for the Rebel VFLW. Sydney really looking to make a statement. The Dogs looking to win their second in a row. Good mark taken. I think it was paid to Hardingham, who's had a lot to do early, over the head of Giselle Davies. And it's a good kick to Jamie Tabb.
They've got some numbers out the back here.
They do.
She wants to go quickly, but
Milford was there.
Time.
Now she goes to Milford, who has Tanya Kennedy for company. She brought it to ground, did Milford. Kennedy barging through like a freight train. Couldn't get through that wall of Western Bulldogs players.
They are doing well at getting additional numbers at the fall of the ball, the Bulldogs, when they go forward.
Running hard. Tap came from Hardingham. Spills through everybody there. Mailer was there, but the ball came out for Sydney. And could that be a dangerous tackle? No. Really good aggression there from Ashley Snow.
Mum Katrina here watching her today.
Hardingham with a bit of a grapple there. She's a tackling machine, Keely Hardingham. Great to watch. And Amy Whelan was no chance of getting through there as the Swans burst through and kick it towards the wing. Ugle, it goes through her hands, and all of a sudden the Swans might be out. Beraldson, who's had a lot of the ball early, does well. Gets it out to Whelan, but Whelan only goes as far as a Western Bulldogs opponent. And I believe it was Skandaris down there, it was. She's come in this week. Oh, sorry, came in round 2. This is her 22nd game, Trinity Skandaris. Bursting through. Imogen Brown. Beraldson gets the handball off. Whelan tried to go to Montana Ham. Couldn't do so. And another stoppage. So really interesting start to this contest.
Gardner up to 5 possessions, leading all comers for the Swans so far.
And the ball does come out here. Snow can't go too far. She did get a little kick away. Shepherd's there, as is Skandaris. Shepherd barges her way through, trying to look for Kiara Hillier. Hillier ensures that that's wrapped up. Almost on the dead centre of the ground here at Whitten Oval. Such great history at this venue. Western Bulldogs playing their last game here, or AFL VFL, in 1997. Sarah Skinner A big kick towards attacking 50. It's going to bounce in. Solitis is there. Has Hausegger for company.
High hit there. She's
Yeah.
unlucky not to get a free
Isadora
kick.
McClay went down straight away. Amy Whelan now can mop it up. And Beraldson again. But the handball, she was too quick. Ugle affected the smother there off the handball. Tanya Kennedy gets the kick forward and the Swans can run it forward.
They've got numbers supporting here, the Swans, but that kick just goes over the top. Well defended.
But brilliantly tackled and great forward pressure from Sydney. Giselle Davies, one of 4. All 3 sisters that are of age are playing for AFLW and are on lists. The 4th one about to be drafted next year. Shepherd gets it out. Hillier. Purposeful pass. Steen, great kick. And little fall there from Lexi Hamilton, but
Plays
brilliant.
on, goes short here.
And that's nice.
Really well done. There is a bit of moisture in this ground out there. It's in beautiful condition, but it will give underfoot a little bit. So we're seeing some players just losing their feet, but that was really good ball use then. They were patient, held the space as forwards, and very good forward craft to lead up.
And Hillier's kick to Hamilton there was brilliant. And now Holly Cooper, she's going to be the beneficiary. This is the easiest shot on goal, I think, that we've seen today. So can Holly Cooper put it through? Swans Academy products. Hits the post.
Just really impressed with how they set that up then, Sydney. Beraldson's been very busy around the stoppages. She's had 5 possessions and the 2 behinds already, proving to be a big influence on this game.
Laura Gardner, she's had 6. Paige Shepherd 4 as well so far for the Sydney Swans. The Western Bulldogs leading comer on the ground is Keely Hardingham. She's had 4 back inside the forward 50 for Sydney. Barging through there was Klingbeil. And now they can get it out. Snow, she did drop it. She's gone. And the Swans' pressure continues. It's Giselle Davies. Goes inside 50, and yep, another mark. And it's the captain, Montana Ham.
It's very easy in that situation as they go for another short over the top.
That one
Eagles
didn't
gonna
come off.
clean this up.
Oh, she tried to evade one, but then the second came. And Imogen Brown will have the shot on goal. Sorry, no, I should say Sarah Grundon. So she's got the family here. You will know if she does kick it. Not an easy one. Right, tucked away right on the boundary. But exquisite forward pressure. Can Sarah Grundon kick the goal? No. Drifts across the face and stays in. And the Swans, just this forward pressure has been amazing so far. They just continue to run at the ball and are so hard at the contest. Grundon taken pick 16 in the 2023 AFLW draft.
Wearing the number 16 too.
Yes. Comes out now to Whelan. Courtney Ugle dropped the mark. Grundon again. Was it in the back? It wasn't. Carbone goes in for the Dogs. Slung around by Ham, and we're going to get another stoppage. So some of the team stats so far, the inside 50 count is the one that's intriguing. And Sydney absolutely dominating it, 7-2 so far. Feels like it's been down there the entire time, holding the ball.
Unlucky not to be in the back there, in my opinion, but did have the spin, so it was going to be a decision one way or the other, either in the back or holding the ball. And I've gone with the latter.
Can the captain kick things off for the Sydney Swans? It's Montana Ham.
With the, 13 and a quarter minutes into this first quarter, I think the Western Bulldogs would be really happy with the scoreboard result. They've faced a mountain of forward entries from Sydney, but this is for the first goal of the game.
Montana Ham slides it out to the near side. I feel like there's been a vortex out there so far this morning. But
we did have the opportunity to speak to a number of the Western Bulldogs players and staff before the game, and they're relishing the opportunity to come up against the quality of talent for Sydney today.
Sydney and GWS are playing 5 games against fellow AFLW affiliated clubs. in their attempt at a pre-season ahead of the AFLW season commencing in August. It's a really great initiative from both of the two clubs to come down here and spend a bit of time in Victoria and giving their young faces an opportunity to get battle hardened a little bit. Holding free kick. It's going to go the way of Sydney.
Out of zone umpire called that one.
Yep, Davies. The smother came in from Hardingham, and the ball's in scrimmage at half forward for the Swans. But can the Dogs try and get it up the corridor and move it? No.
It was a dangerous kick inside then.
Yeah.
That was from Davies. Could have been turnover city for the Bulldogs. Lucky to get a reset the Sydney side.
Handball comes out from Bishop, but only as far as Whelan. And the kick from Steen inside the 50, or towards the attacking 50. And the lasso. It's one of my favourite umpire actions when they just get the wrist going. And Stephanie Ashak will take the kick. Speaking to her parents before the game, and they have no dirt on her at all. Mick?
No, other than the nickname of Shaki.
Yep. Kennedy goes inboard, and she has two players there, one of which is Hillier.
Really spreading the ground, Val.
Yep, inboard again. Vale.
Got the overlap.
Goes inboard, gets the 1-2. Eliza Vale inside 50 now for the Sydney Swans, and that is a brilliant defensive mark from Roxy Boozeville. Can kick both left and right foot. Very good ball user.
Had some success in the surf life-saving realm.
Yes, she has.
As a ski paddler.
That kick from Ugle certainly not going to help the Western Bulldogs as the Swans are going to go back inside 50. They have been...
Look at this space there opening up in front here. They're so disciplined.
Yep.
It's really enjoyable to watch here as they play on and centre this ball.
Is it going to work? It's not. Trying to run through his Bishop, but the kick just not good enough. And Kennedy will propel the Swans back inside the attacking 50. Feel like I've said it a lot so far today. Skenderis gets the kick away. She's going to look for Snow, but out on the full. And a 4-1 lead, 16 and a half minutes gone. Somehow the Dogs haven't conceded a goal with all the inside 50s Sydney have had. And the kick towards goal does finally come.
Fantastic positioning then for the intercept mark.
Chloe Leonard just cutting off the Laura Gardner kick, and Leonard into the team this week. A club debut, former Cat. Brilliant intercept mark taken by Whelan, who's been really busy this quarter. And just this purposeful ball movement. It's been sensational so far, and Senna Goulden will be the beneficiary here. Sister of Errol. Played for South Adelaide the last couple of seasons. And in South Australia. Can she kick the first?
Great kick.
It's gone through. The Goulden name is becoming very, very famous at the Sydney Swans. Brother Errol almost pinched a Brownlow last year, and now sister Senna puts the first ever VFLW goal through for the Sydney Swans.
We spoke about there being a little bit of a vortex to that right-hand side of goal for Sydney, but you learnt from those previous kicks. That was a strong kick off the boot, held its line. I've been really impressed with the way the Sydney forwards are setting up. It's so easy to lead early as a forward in the urgency to get on the ball, but they're really holding their positions and protecting the space in front of the forwards.
There's a bit of trivia there, or the answer to a trivia question. She will be who kicked the very first Sydney VFLW goal. Well, Senna Goulden. They've been sensational so far this quarter. The Dogs have defended grimly and done well. Davies gets it out, and they can foray forward yet again.
Great attack.
Hamilton. Oh, there's trouble, but getting through just. Comes out to McCarthy. Berylson couldn't take the mark, and Boozeville will just try and send it back to where it came from. McLeod's in there. Handballs it out, and the kick just comes forward. The Dogs do have numbers, but sensational mark from Martin.
Again, good positioning.
Yep.
The Dogs had extra numbers there if they could get the ball to ground. But Martin with the intercept mark. Great smother. Good awareness on the mark then.
They did do well. Can they try and get it out? Milford does burst it out. Did Kennedy drop the ball? Umpire said it's all good.
Generous ruling, I think. Could have easily paid a throw there,
so,
but
yeah.
Generally if you're making an attempt in the initial tackle without prior, you'll get away with that.
Both teams have about 40 seconds to try and get it towards goal. We've seen it done on plenty of occasions, and the Swans are going to get the clearance first, but Kennedy, she was taken without it. The Dogs fans are pleading with the umpire to give them a free kick. They don't get it. Brown runs forward, streams forward. Hamilton
race.
Inside the 50. It's long. Ugle might get there first. She won't. And there's a second goal. Holly Cooper put on the afterburners.
10 seconds left in the quarter, and it was just a critical turnover through the middle of the ground. I think it was Imogen Brown on the burst with some really good decision-making through the middle. It was like a training drill of the three-man weave, but once they got the ball over the back, the leg speed of Cooper was just too much for Ugle. And that a finish with a flurry, Sydney, in that first quarter, finishing at 2-4-16 to the single behind to the Western Bulldogs.
They were magnificent in their first ever Rebel VFLW quarter, the Sydney Swans. Pressure aplenty coming from the red and the white. Plenty more still to come here at Whitten Oval, though. We've got 3 quarters left here, but it is the Sydney Swans up by 15 points, 2-4-16 to just the one behind of the Bulldogs. 15 points the difference at quarter time here at Whitten Oval. The Sydney Swans in their first ever Rebel VFLW quarter putting on a clinic. Just not on the scoreboard, but in everything else almost. They almost doubled the Western Bulldogs disposals, 81-41. The inside 50s, 13-2. Hitouts 9-7. Clearances 8-6. 16 marks to 7. And 6 shots on goal to 1 so far. They've been very clinical. Val Febo, my name here at Whitten Oval. Joining me is Mick O'Neill. Mick, what are some of the player stats so far for the Bulldogs and the Swans?
Well, the 13-2 inside advantage to Sydney reflects the possessions. Laura Gardner with the 8 possessions, and Montana Berylson and Amy Whelan with the 6 possessions each. Keely Hardingham's done a good job with 5 possessions for the Bulldogs, but it's been weight of numbers, and particularly in the last 7 minutes of the quarter. The first 13 minutes, Sydney dominated but couldn't get on the scoreboard from a goals perspective, but then the 2 late conversions from Cooper and Goulden really gave them an advantage that they deserve.
They certainly do. Nail on the head there, Mick O'Neill. That's why he's the best in the business. And Sydney looking to try and impose more dominance. The Dogs do get the clearance, and Skenderis just spent it before she had it. Carbone comes and cleans up the mess and ensures that it doesn't go anywhere, so the Dogs get the first foray forward. Hamilton with the hit out. Kennedy, who's been busy, almost came off, and it did. Look at the cleanliness there, just the ability to get that clean pickup, and the second effort was absolutely magnificent. Third effort coming there from Berylson. Almost a fourth effort. Was it below the knees? No.
Going to pay this?
I think they are, yes. And it was just that desperation there from Ashak to try and get the ball away from Sydney, because Berylson had just continued to force it forward. They're running into trouble. No, Grundon inside 50. Over the head of Cooper. Oh, sorry, Hamilton. Cooper dropped it. And the kick came out. Another one. Yeah. Just imposing figures out there. The Swans. It was Laura Gardner and Cooper. Was she held without it? No. Trying to keep it in there was Hamilton.
Clock will still run here, will it?
Yep.
It'll take us 20 seconds to get this ball back. But again, Lucy Gardner prominent already in this first minute or two of the second quarter. The cream's sort of rising to the top in that respect, Val. It's actually a pleasure to watch the level of talent on display here. Not only talent-wise, but system-wise, they're very disciplined.
They are. Played 30 AFLW games, Laura Gardner. 2023 BNF winner for the Swans. And all spills out. Look at that from Ham. Tackled, not paid, holding the ball. So they can just continue to move it. Gardner evading, moving. Cooper down there. Davies. Handball away. It's a quick one to Grundon. And Grundon just putting it through for a behind. So
shrieks of the supporting family next to us. The disappointment that wasn't put through, but
we would have heard a huge roar had that gone through. So the margin at 16. Keely Hardingham working so hard already.
I think it was Ashley Snow with a terrific tackle before that she was unlucky not to be rewarded. I would have paid that as a holding the ball.
Tossed in. Rucks go at it once again. Just Sydney's ability to win the ball. Grundon goes long. Good forward craft. Berylson might run onto this again. Gets the snap away. And it's true. Montana Berylson, reward for effort. Kicks her first and the Swans third. And they inflict a little bit more damage. Mick O'Neill.
Yeah, I think, was it Giselle Davies in the one-on-one contest down there? Really positioned her body well. The kick-in from Grundon was excellent because it was to the advantage side of Davies. Protected that space, and then when you've got the quality of Berylson at ground level, that was a really terrific conversion there. The running power of Berylson and Gardner in that forward half of the ground is really causing problems. You can see the repeat efforts that they've got under their belt from the AFL conditioning. It's really good to watch.
Carbone. Punched away. Tab is there. Overruns it, but the ball comes towards her from Scandera. She just can't pick it up. She can now. They want it in the back, didn't get it. Snow kicks forward, and this set up from Sydney again. Just looking the goods. Intercept mark taken by Hausecker. Ham over the head of her teammate in Vale. Snow, kick forward.
Excellent kick that. Comes off for a spell, Snow. She's done very well.
Dom Carbone in the Rebel Team of the Year last year. The Dogs' captain. And they just can't get it inside their attacking arc, can they? When they have, they've gone deep. But it's just a matter of getting there. Hardingham goes in for a second effort. They try to barge their way through. It's Tab in there and they can't.
Yeah, the Swans are playing very aggressive positionally as defenders, and they're relying on the pressure up the field to make the kicks drop short. So it's a real team effort on their defence, and they're getting the reward with intercept marks. Got Ugle sitting behind the ball as an extra defender here.
Hardingham gets a handball away. Bishop, she's stripped of it. Comes out to Livingston, who's met by two Swans.
Oh, he's going to pay in the back a dangerous type tackle here.
It was aggressive.
And this is the opportunity they have to get a deep inside 50 with players set forward of the footy.
Livingston inside, and it's good. Pulcino takes the mark. Just positioned her body beautifully. Let her opponent overrun the ball.
It's really good craft. That read the flight of the ball in the air. Propped and stopped. Might be right on the range here. Sydney with some talls on the line. We saw in the first quarter most of the set shots on goal were drifting right of screen or to the right-hand side.
Gives herself a little bit more space, Pulcino, but shanked the kick. And they're going to get a stoppage. So they would have loved the goal, but at least they get a repeat stoppage inside their 50. Comes out Sydney. Well, they're going to clear it very quickly, you'd think. And the kick comes, and Hamilton takes the mark. Now they can move it. She kept her feet, and they can go here, the Swans. They've got numbers. Goulden hands it back. Cooper. Brown. They continue to foray it forward. Gardner. And here's Hamilton. Bang! 4 for Sydney.
That's one of the team goals of the week that you'll see. I'm not sure. There must have been 8 consecutive handballs from off half-back. It was just outstanding team play.
The run was exquisite. Laura Gardner was magnificent in that whole process.
You just see that running power of Gardner and the ability to get the 1-2 back, creates an overlap, all sorts of decisions for the Western Bulldogs defenders to make, causes chaos, and then they had the extra number at the back and moved it clinically. Moved it like a great side and get the reward at the end of that.
So it's 4-5-29 to just the behind. Sydney, they're making life difficult for the Bulldogs. They had a great win last week over Casey. Whelan. They just continue to go forward. Shepherd inside 50. Ashak can't really do much. It comes back to Shepherd, who gets it to Ham. Ham taken without it by Carbone. Running through is Cooper. Got the handball to space. Goulden spent it before she had it. And she's crashing in hard was Boozerville. Goulden got straight back up. That ball's not really going anywhere.
Both players had eyes on the footy then. So well done by both players. I thought that there might have been a head-high contact for the Sydney player coming in.
Thought Goulden was going to be having another shot on goal. Their pressure has been elite, and they continue to feed it out to their own players. Whelan's there. She's wrapped up.
You can just see the enthusiasm of the Sydney players. They know they've got the game on their terms now, and they're actually being really proactive with their running. Some players almost pushing ahead of the footy, knowing that they're going to get possession.
Shepherd got it inside 50. The kick came out. It was smothered nicely there by Leonard.
Can't see on screen, Val, but I have to talk about the facilities here at the Western Oval. Just magnificent. New buildings going up left, right and centre.
It's brilliant here. It's changed a lot over the last 15 years or so. It comes out to Grundon. Davies shrugs one, evades another. Ugle down there. She's going to try and mop it up for the Dogs. Has she dragged it in here? No.
Had the pleasure of speaking to Giselle Davies' dad Darren before the game, a rugby background coming out of Wales. Played in the European final, he told us, with quite a bit of humility.
Goulden gets the handball away, kick to the hot spot, punched away by the Dogs. Jamie Tabb just going to kick it away from danger, but the problem is Sydney are there and prepared to propel it back in.
Fantastic ball use then. They get the chance to set up now.
Szigeti.
That was Hauser on the left foot.
Szigeti inside. Punched away. I think it came off the head of the Swans, but the tackling pressure has been elite. Szigeti with a little blind turn into the pocket. Hamilton's there. She'll be the beneficiary here again. Punch by the other Hamilton. Comes to Whelan, who pushes it through for a behind. So the Swans peppering 4-6-30 to just the one behind for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Laura Gardner, up to 16 possessions, on track for almost world record numbers.
It's quite unbelievable.
Only halfway through the second quarter. Saw Jazzy Fleming have 39 possessions for Box Hill a couple of weeks ago.
Yep. I think the thing with Gardner was before she had about 4 disposals in the same passage.
Yeah. And there have been quality possessions too. She's not just racking them up. She's getting value for possessions.
Sydney have got the top 6 disposal getters on the ground here. Keely Hardingham, the only one in the top 8 or 9.
That should be a free. No.
Look at the tackling pressure. Davies, well, her dad's got the rugby background, and it was a rugby-style tackle and a little bit of aggression shown between Giselle Davies and Marlee McLeod. Jamie Tabb gets it out. And
we've spoken about her dad, Darren, a bit. He had the Sydney top on, and he had the GWS hoodie tied around his waist because he's going to that game later.
He is. He's going to be going to watch another daughter. That's Fleur Davies, playing for the GWS Giants. There's also Darcy, who plays for the Gold Coast Suns. And then there's Georgia, who is looking to be drafted next year. And it comes out from Gardner again. Kennedy, look at the kick. It went over Goulden's head. Ugle this time. Handball's away, but how has she handballed it? It's back into trouble for the Dogs. Kennedy trying to get it to Szigeti. Wrapping it in there is Skinner, but it does come out. And not going anywhere.
Courtney Ugle's defensive positioning's been good today. She comes to meet the footy, but she'd want a few of her possessions back that she's had today. Turned the ball over a couple of times, but I really like how she positions herself defensively.
Comes out. Gardner again. Szigeti inside 50. The Swans have numbers. They're streaming forward. Ham, the captain. It's another one. Not too far from her original home, Hillside and Keilor. And Montana Ham puts through the 6th goal of the game for the Sydney Swans. Sorry, the 5th goal of the game, I should say. 5-6-36 to 1 behind.
Yeah, the 3 goals so far in the first, coming up to the 13-minute mark of this second quarter. Laura Gardner again, she's up to 18 possessions. She's had the 12 handballs, which have been really creative, and to go with that, there's the 7 tackles. So she's putting together a complete performance. We're seeing really good kicking into the inside 50 for Sydney to the advantage of their players, which allows them to work at ground level if they don't mark it.
Skenderis does really well, arches the back, kicks towards the attacking 50. But Sydney, they look like they've got the numbers. Hillier overspent it. And the Dogs fans want ball. They're not going to get it.
Val, I did see at selection, I think Chloe Malloy was listed as an emergency for today. I know they've got a strong side, but she wasn't held out as a traditional emergency, I don't think. But wow, do they have some richness of talent out there.
They do. Look at the way that they're attacking the footy here. It's been mesmerising to watch. And the kick coming out beautifully taken there. Mailer intercepting. Back inside forward 50. And brilliantly taken and juggled. Isadora Macleay. She's played 3 AFLW games with the Giants and kicked 2 goals last week in her first game of the season. And this is desperately needed for the Bulldogs. Just drifting out. Punched away. Who's down? Comes back towards the goal square for the Dogs. Solitis was there. The looping handball puts Hillier under a lot of pressure. Carbone comes to meet her, as does Talia Pulcino. Macleay in there, back to Pulcino. Gets the handball out. Tab. A little dinky kick forward. Doesn't quite come off, and the Swans can move it out again. Gardner. McCarthy. The high kick could be at the advantage of Sydney. Hamilton just couldn't quite control it, but she goes in with the second effort. And it's just the ability to make up for when they don't have the ball, Mick, and just the second effort to go in and tackle when they miss it.
Yeah, correct. They gained probably 30 or 40 metres of territory without a possession then, just forcing it forward through Will as Gardner she's into the 20s now for possessions.
Scary good at the moment. Beraldson. The kick is just high and as far away as possible from Mailer. McCarthy, the Irish export, Kennedy, Martin. They're all chiming in and joining this party. Sydney
Right on the
Swans.
Doug Hawkins wing there. Iconic piece of suburban football folklore, the Doug Hawkins wing.
Certainly is.
And really the first time the ball's been transitioned down that outer side. And great ball use to centre back in here. Watch the patience of the Sydney forwards. There's a hole in front of where they want to lead to here. They've been very patient.
Kennedy told to play on inside. It's going to drop around the back, but inaccurately.
There's some real synergy between the Sydney players, particularly when they're going forward. They really know they're protecting that space. They're patient to lead. Bulldogs transition this out well.
McLeod looking for Macleay. The Max combine, and now it goes to Mailer. And Skenderis can't take the mark. Kennedy, who just kicked that last behind. Her work rate has been splendid today. All over the ground.
The 2 contested marks for Isadora Macleay today. She's been willing as a key forward. Been involved in a couple of heavy clashes. Recovered well.
3 minutes left in this second term here. Sydney flexing their muscles. Skinner for the Dogs to Livingston. Goes to Macleay, but treacles through past her. Beraldson in there. She's wrapped up. The Bulldogs, if they can just get one before half-time, just to give themselves some respite and some life.
Carbone up to 8 possessions for the Bulldogs. She's on track, averages 14 possessions a game.
Their leading disposal getter on the ground. There's 5 Swans who have had more. It's quite unbelievable what Sydney are putting together in their inaugural VFLW match.
We spoke about speaking to some of the Western Bulldogs staff and players before the game. They've got a real growth mindset for this game. So really they were looking forward to testing themselves against the quality of this talent. They're just looking to learn and grow.
Yep.
Scoreboard's not helping their position, obviously, but these players are getting a great insight into the next level of football.
And this is what you take from these weeks. You know, it's a learning experience. Although, yes, it probably could result in a loss. I think the opportunity to play against players that are in that level above and see how you match up with them. By no means is this one over. They'll have the belief, the Bulldogs.
Good mark. Terrific mark.
It is. Milford can force it inside the 50, but again, dropping into the hole.
And that's the difference in this game. Sydney going forward, protecting that space, making sure they're not outnumbered by opposing free defenders, and we'll see it here.
And look at them go. Hamilton with the kick, looking for Wheel, and Ugle gets there. She tries to double back. does so. Cornish got it to Ashak, who went without it, and the Swans can quickly move it away. Gardner got it out.
Kicked it to herself.
Yep, and went and got it as well.
Might
Hamilton
get it
can't
again.
take the mark. Gardner once again.
And again.
She's going to get a fourth disposal here in this passage of play. She does. That is absolutely unbelievable, and they're going to waltz it in for what is going to be another goal, is it? Ham did well. She touched the post. She didn't, did she? No. Oh, hang on.
So the stats team will be flat out keeping up with Laura Gardner's involvement then.
Well,
User-friendly bounce at the end would have been a walking goal for Ham.
that was just unbelievable. 4 disposals in one passage of play there for Laura Gardner, and she's up to 24 for the game,
She's tracking towards a 50 possession game.
which in 20-minute quarters is just absurd. There's 13 seconds left in this term.
That was 25 for
Yep.
Gardner.
Can they quickly force it forward here? Ashak doing really nicely, and that'll probably be the end of the half. It will. And a dominant display from the Sydney Swans sees them leading by 37 points at the main change. 5-8-38 to the one behind from the Western Bulldogs. The goal kickers so far, Cynthia Hamilton, Montana Ham, Senna Goulden, Holly Cooper and Montana Berylton. They've all got one. But the story of the day so far is the scintillating half from ball magnet Laura Gardner. 25 disposals, the highest rated player on the ground with 94 points in a half of football. Quite simply amazing. We'll be back with the second half here at Whitten Oval, and it's the Western Bulldogs trailing the Sydney Swans 38-1. 37-point lead to the Sydney Swans at halftime against the Western Bulldogs at Whit Noble. It's Rebel VFLW round 3 action here. And Valfebo, my name. Joining me is Mick O'Neill. The goal kickers so far after a clinical half from the Sydney Swans: Cynthia Hamilton, Montana Ham, Senna Goulden, Holly Cooper and Montana Berylton. They've all got one each, but the story of the day so far, Mick O'Neill, is Laura Gardner.
Yeah, an amazing first half performance with 25 possessions. Sydney have had 166 in total, so she's running at 1 out of every 6.5 possessions for Sydney. That's how well she's doing. 2 passages of play where she's chained together 3 or more possessions in the same play. It's the running power. Clearly she comes with elite calibre history of AFL performance, AFLW performance, but it's been a real pleasure. The next leading Sydney possession getter is on 12 possessions, which shows her dominance.
It's quite unbelievable. She's doubled everybody else on the ground, Laura Gardner, and she's going to be hungry for more in quarter number 3, where Jamie Tabb gets it forward. Goes over the head of Woodward, but she goes and gets it herself. Martin gets the handball away. Tabb bursts through, and everyone stacks on top of her.
We saw at just after half-time all the Western Bulldogs players, coming together in the middle of the ground. Coaching team and players all had a chat, and I'm sure they were focusing on the positives of what they're going to get out of this game and keep competing, and that's what they've done as we see a high tackle there to open this second half. They've been competitive.
They want a goal. Talia Pulcino, she's kicked a few of them so far already this year. This is 22 inside 50s to 7 so far. Pulcino sets it up, but McCarthy takes the intercept mark, and Sydney can do what they've been doing all day. And that's not getting it to Laura Gardner, but just propelling and moving forward. That is brilliantly done from Berylton. She's had a great game herself. She's going to handball to Davies, and Davies is going to wait for it. Might give it back to Berylton. No, she's going to have to go herself. She waited too long, but she got it out. Whelan, she's going to go inside the 50, and Hamilton is going to take the mark. That is precise. They almost stuffed it up, but Sydney, this is exquisite ball movement. Hamilton, well, that goes to the feet of her teammate, which was Holly Cooper. But the ability to cut the Dogs open and move the ball forward then.
Terrific. Amy Whelan, the poise off one step to find a leading target was excellent.
And they can try and 4-8 forward through a soccer. They do so. Davies is there. The Dogs just continue to try and get it out, but Davies, she's too strong. But
let's hit the belly of the ball there on that snap. So inside 50, no free kick, obviously, but just her strength over the ball, Giselle Davies, is very impressive.
She's tall too. So just that ability to really barge through was insanely terrific. Thrown back in. Tap came from Hardingham. Vale overran it. Kennedy, who's also had a pretty good day, she'll go towards Hillier. Carbone and Tabb down there. Carbone's going to have to go and get it herself. Dives on top of it. Hillier into her back. Nothing coming of it.
The 9 possessions for Carbone and Hardingham, and Ugle leading the way for the Western Bulldogs.
They've toiled hard, all those 3. Carbone again, almost kicking in danger, but not paid. That could be gone. No throw paid. Interesting, only 8 free kicks paid in that first half. Pulcino gets the handball away. McClay ensures that goes out of bounds.
Just coming off with a bit of a limp at the moment. Dominique Carbone might sit on the bench here. Looks ankle-ish. Just caught under that tackle in the contest about 20 seconds ago. We'll keep an eye on that, Val.
Sarah Skinner just slipping over there at the contest. It's a beautiful ground. We both went out there at halftime. Ham just crashing in, and she's gone. The Dogs fans, the Bronx cheers come. They do get that free kick that they've been craving.
Should be 50 there.
Yep. Tanya Kennedy just didn't
ran
give
through the mark.
Yeah, and didn't give it back very quickly either. The tactics there with how slowly she gave that back, allowed her teammates to get back up, and Hardingham takes the mark. Now they can move because Skanderis is running forward. Just
Clay might be the target here if they're going to go slow.
But McClay, it's not going to get to her. Martin dropped it. McClay is there. She'll get the handball off Skanderis. She's tackled and she's gone. The defensive pressure of Sydney again winning out. And they can continue to move it forward. Haussegger with the handball to Ham. Ham over the top. Hillier. Kennedy straight up the middle of Whitten Oval. And inside the 50. Whelan. She wheels and goes. Holly Cooper's going to run onto it. Holly Cooper is going to kick. Goal number 6 for Sydney.
Yeah, unbelievable transition from deep inside their defensive 50. Untouched, getting the ball from one end to the other. I really like the kick of Whelan from the top of the 50 there. It was almost a flat punch. He kicked that deliberately so that the ball would spin on with a user-friendly roll at the end. And the simplest of conversions, again, the leg speed out the back.
First multiple goal kicker of the day, Holly Cooper.
And if I recall, I think her first goal was in similar style. It's a foot speed out the back that makes her so difficult to counter.
It's exactly deja vu right there, Mick O'Neill. You're bang on the money. It was to that end as well.
Quote the famous Yogi Berra, it's deja vu all over again, I think he said.
Cut it away by Hardingham. And they're not going anywhere. Sydney's
Ham having a run through the middle and her physicality driving through the contest showing up already. 46
tackles to 35 in this game so far in favour of the Sydney Swans.
Yeah, unlucky. She was caught high there. Was Klingbeil. Umpire had the whistle to the mouth but decided not to pay it.
Mark spilled. The Swans, they're just so quick and they're poised, so good. Oh, Gardner gets the handball away. Evaded one, Whelan. Another inside 50 for her. And another effective disposal.
Whelan's free in the pocket if her teammate can lead away Cooper.
Cynthia Hamilton. She's kicked one already.
Look again, it's going to be intercepted, but I love watching just the timing of the leads. It's something they've clearly put a lot of work into, the quality of their kicks inside 50, or the final kick inside the forward 50.
Skanderis takes a good mark. As does Klingbeil, and she'll get the kick forward. And now Ellie Bishop can run, but Tanya Kennedy, look how quick she is. But she's met, and she's taken down. Ellie Bishop, what a wonderful tackle it was. And a great effort. She'll go inside 50 now for the Dogs.
Here we go.
And it's going to come over the top. Salida should kick the goal. Does kick the goal. They're on the board. Renee Salidis kicked one last week. It was a tough year in 2022-23 where she recovered from an ACL injury, but she's one of the shining lights for this Bulldogs VFLW team, and that's exactly why. She's quick, she's effective in front of goal, and Ali Bishop deserves a massive pat on the back.
Yeah, coming off to the applause of her teammates right now for a rest. But Salidis, excellent use of the body. As Bishop was coming in to kick that, she was pointing to the space where she wanted the ball. The kick favoured her, and she was able to just hold her ground once the ball got over the back. Simplest of conversions, but really, really good forward nous from Salidis.
Carbone. Run out to Klingbeil. Kennedy slaps it forward. The Swans can move it away again. Ashak to Ugle, the vice-captain now. He's led from the front pretty well, but a couple of those kicks today for her just haven't quite come off. And she's, as you said, Mick, she's defended so well, put herself in some really good positions, but just disposal letting her down a little bit.
Gives the Swans the opportunity to go forward. And again, you can see they're protecting this space in front of the kicker. Makes for a simple hit-up lead and allows them then to go deeper into their forward line.
Kennedy gets the 1-2. She can run it inside 50, and that is a brilliant, well, it's paid.
Paid the hold, but could have paid the mark as well. The strong hands in front of her face there. But again, it's the ability for them to protect the space, and hit up on the lead as forwards. And I talk about this synergy that they've got. They do it with confidence because they know, one, that they're going to be rewarded when they lead, and two, they know the space will be there.
So, Alexia Hamilton. Can she put through the Swans' 7th? Stabbed at it and treacles through for a behind.
I think, is it Hamilton the musical where the character is Alexander Hamilton? Alexia Hamilton's been prominent today.
Yep. I'm not sure, actually, if the main character's name's Hamilton. I haven't seen it, so it's one that's on the bucket list to watch.
But they've got a richness of options up forward. The two Hamiltons, obviously, as Kennedy takes another intercept mark here, and they lead up at the football again.
If it wasn't for Laura Gardner, Kennedy would be very close to best on ground. The kick just comes over the top, and just taking the mark is Tamsin Crook.
Just the 3 possessions in the first 10 minutes of this third quarter for Laura Gardner. She's up to 28. Kennedy, who was involved there, is up to 16 possessions as a defender.
So they can again move it inside 50. Can the Swans? Hamilton can't take the mark. Here's Ugle. She's going to run onto it, but she's pressured off it. The Swans get the handball away, and they're going to be the beneficiary again. Yes, they are. There's another goal set up beautifully by Hamilton. And quite see who that was down there. I think it was it Holly Cooper once again?
Yeah, I think Gardner had the handball, the critical handball in the middle of that. She might be coming off for a rest now. We've spoken about Courtney Ugle and her defensive positioning, and she did well again to get to the football first, but it's that wave of pressure. There's been no easy outlet kicks for the Western Bulldogs defenders. And we spoke about Gardner getting involved. She's so strong in the tackle, the ability to ride the first tackle and then still get a quality disposal. Just a pleasure to watch. That was Holly Cooper. Once again, Mick, she's kicked 3 today. Having a day out. So 7-9-51 to 1-1-7. Touch play on, so McCarthy doesn't get the mark. Umpire will ball it up. So Holly Cooper, 3 goals, 1. 9 disposals. She's laid 7 tackles as well in this game. Only Laura Gardner in front of her with 11. Oh, interesting kick from Milford. Good take. Comes out to McClay. Tab dropped it, but they can still move it forward. She went in again, did Jamie Tab. And now Ali Bishop, she created the first goal with a brilliant individual effort. Kicks it forward, and that's going to treacle out of play and beat Abby Martin. So it was Cassidy Mailer came and met the ball at ground level then and gave off a first give handball. Was just a really good glimpse into a player. They haven't always been one touch each time, but Cassidy Mailer, well done then. And that's what those pickups can do. They can allow you to just move the ball quickly, and it's what Sydney have been so exemplary with today. And that kick is high, up and under. And brilliant late run there from Beraldson to affect the spoil on Skinner. Again, not a statistic that will go Beraldson's way, but it's the effort to make a contest. It's when you watch these games back, that's something that the coach will highlight, and it's something that Scott Gowans will be so impressed with. Hit away from McClay, got to Tab, only went up in the air. Davies got it away. Little hold there. The Swans through Whelan can forage it forward, and a dangerous tackle against Skinner. And the Dogs fans, you can hear or you can feel the eyes rolling. And a little push, and it's been reversed. Tensions flaring, and Sarah Skinner, she's going to take it. The Dogs showing a bit of bark and bite. Skinner, it's a dangerous kick to Carbone, and it's spoiled, and the Swans, they're going to come out of it. Brilliantly done by Kennedy. Gets the high for the first tackle. Skinner was going to nail that for holding the ball free. Comes off to Zaghetti, smothered. The Dogs fans liked it. She goes in again, and she's wrapped up by 2. Bit of feeling in this one. The Dogs, their respect is on the line. They want to get some respectability back in the scoreboard. Davies got it down and too high. So
the Dogs, they're just going in that little bit too hard at the moment. And
Hard when the crowd's right in front of you, not to get that rush of blood. But the nourishment they've got from actually getting on the scoreboard's really enlivened the team as a whole.
Ham plays on. Hillier. She'll get it back to Ham. Runs around 1, 2. And the captain kicks a beauty. And it's her second of the game, Montana Ham. Combined well with Kiara Hillier. And the margin, well, it's out at 50.
Yeah, third goal for the quarter. That's just class from Ham, knowing she had the advantage. Moved the ball inside forward 50 by hands. They always had the extra player. And an excellent conversion in the end. It was a good 5 or 6 minute period for the Western Bulldogs, a goal apiece during that time. And as you said, there are plenty of positives for the Bulldogs players and coaches to take out of this, but it's those finishing touches, the cleanness of ball movement, the surety of ball handling that's helping Sydney.
It's a result, a foregone conclusion, but the Dogs, they're fighting. They want to ensure that they can set their season up. Obviously, percentage is still a big factor in this season, so they don't want to go too far behind. Running forward is Klingbeil. Long kick inside 50. Waiting at the back there, and it was Tamsin, it was Marley McLeod who was waiting at the back. Slapped away. McClay's going to get there. Gets it out to Pulcino.
Got it.
Pulcino puts it through. Instant reply, Bulldogs.
Yeah, reward for effort there for the Bulldogs. I think it was Klingbeil through the middle of the ground with the free kick. Really used her legs to drive past the player on the mark and get that kick long inside 50. She's a good kick at the best of times, but that extra 10 metres, once the ball got over the back, then it was a matter of could they compete at ground level. Some good forward pressure caused the turnover, and then a really neat conversion at ground level. Second goal for the quarter.
And second for the game. Margin back to 44. And they've just lifted ever so slightly, the Western Bulldogs. You can see in the distance behind Whitten Oval, there is a Bulldogs flag flying high over one of the houses. Hamilton doing really well, getting her own tap. Comes out to Vale, who handballs forward. Ugle picks it up, corralled by Gardner. Carbone. Boozerville, high, up and under. Kennedy, a brick wall she's been today. The kick a little bit grubby, but it comes off. Gardner, she's going to kick inside the 50. Just looking for the advantage of Hamilton, who kicks high. And a holding free kick will go the way of the Swans, who are going to get another shot on goal, and it's going to be Paige Shepherd.
Grundon's free here. No, they're not going to use that. Should be within distance here.
So Paige Shepherd to kick her first and join the party. Goals galore this quarter. Very close to the man on the mark. Up and under. Missed to the near side. So the margin at 45 points, 8-10-58 to 2-1-13. The Sydney Swans with 2.5 minutes to go in this third term. Dangerous kick coming out of the back line. Yeah, was that a throw? The Dogs wanted the throw. And yes, they eventually got it.
Mid-zone umpire calling that.
Yeah.
Just going back to Tanya Kennedy, you said she's a brick wall across half-back. 19 possessions, 4 intercept marks and the 6 handballs. She's been a stellar performer today.
She has. She's managed to propel them forward, and her and Laura Gardner been absolutely magnificent.
30 possessions for Gardner. She has had an extended break on the interchange bench this quarter.
Had 5 this quarter. She was at 25 at halftime. So,
Make that 6.
Yep. Didn't come out well for her, though. Went to Livingston. And now Renee Solitis can run onto this. She overran it, though. McClay gets it. Going to have to go back to Solitis. But that brick wall in Kennedy does so well to keep it in. She won that 1-on-2 contest. And Scott Gowans would be applauding that in the coach's box, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's the cover defence and her leg speed. She's willing to come off her own opponent 3 or 4 times it's been a standout that looked like the Dogs would go forward unopposed.
Ham got it out. She was so strong in the contest. Kicks it long. Hamilton can't take the mark. She goes in, does well, gets the handball out. She'll go in and get it again and run away from her opponent completely. She gets it again. Third disposal in this little passage. Kick inside the 50, only as far as Ugle, who read it well.
Gonna switch this wide. Kick needs to be good, and it is this time. Well done, Ugle.
You're right, it had to be absolutely perfect. There's been a few of those that haven't come across for her today. And it's dangerous for the Dogs as we go right to the teeth of goal for the Sydney Swans. Handball, very, very classy. Comes through. Cooper, can she go for a fourth goal? She can't. But running through, was it holding the ball? No, she just dropped it there. Comes out to Hardingham. Hardingham.
That's a clever option.
Yep.
But watch Kennedy here.
But look at her go, Kennedy. She barged through and did so well. She got a little handball away, but the Dogs can pick it up and go. But that will be the end of the third term. They defended grimly in that last minute, the Western Bulldogs, and the margin extended to 45 points at three-quarter time. It's Sydney in their very first VFLW game, 8-10-58 to the Bulldogs, 2-1-13. 20 minutes of football to come here at Whitten Oval, and we can't wait to see what the final quarter delivers. This is Rebel VFLW action. We'll be back in just under 5 minutes' time. Final quarter about to get underway here at Whitten Oval. It's Rebel VFLW action for round 3. The Western Bulldogs 2-1-13 trail the Sydney Swans 8-10-58. It's history for Sydney in their very first VFLW contest, and they are pleasing everyone at the Swans camp. They lead it by 45 points. Val Febo and Mick O'Neill in the booth here today at Whitten Oval. And Mick, some of the stats so far, the team stats, the Swans on top in almost every category.
Yeah, 31 to 11 inside 50s is a standout statistic and reflects the scoreboard and reflects the general nature of play. But for that quarter, the Bulldogs got 2 goals themselves, the first 2 of the game, so only lost the quarter by a goal. There was real positivity in their huddle at three-quarter time. We've mentioned there's probably a talent gulf between the two sides today, but they can be really encouraged by their effort and some individual glimpses of real talent on their own side. Laura Gardner, we've spoken about her at length today. She's up to 32 possessions. Kennedy's been fantastic with 19. And for the Western Bulldogs, Carbone with 14 touches.
Been absolutely sensational, Dom Carbone, as per usual. But the Dogs being swarmed at the moment. Sydney with yet another clearance. Carbone in the thick of it, as is Tanya Kennedy, who has been a brick wall today. As you said, Laura Gardner, 32 disposals, Mick. She's been magnificent. It was a slow quarter for her, only getting 7 disposals in the third, but magnificent nonetheless. Hamilton with a good handball. Grundon tried to get the kick away. She's taken off it. Really well done from Milford, but it came out again. And McCarthy arches the back, runs around, takes a little bit of time and does nicely. Their ability to switch and change direction with poise today, it's been something to behold, the Swans. Kick comes out. Whelan has done really well today as well. Got it to her captain in Ham, whose eyes were splendid to find Grundon.
Gardner here.
Yep.
Over the top.
Magnificent. Gardner to the teeth of goal. And they're going to have another shot. So good, the Sydney Swans. They've just been peppering all day. And Montana Berylson, she's kicked 1 goal too. And this should be her second.
Laura Gardner's had the 3 possessions in the first 90 seconds as that goes straight through the middle.
Goal umpire didn't need to take a step. Another one for the Swans. 9-10-64 to 2-1-13. It's the biggest margin of the game at 51. And there would have been a few nerves for the Swans to come into a new competition and see how they would fare and see how they might be tracking ahead of the 2024 AFLW campaign. But this would be a massive sigh of relief considering how well they've played today.
Absolutely, and they travelled this morning, I believe, so it's a intraday travel day for them, so that adds a layer of complexity. But
it's a big day.
Yeah, but what, again, I sound like a broken record, the running power of the Swans midfield is just so impressive. And speaking right on cue, there's Laura Gardner.
She's been a ball magnet today. Hamilton got it out, but sold her teammate into trouble, and a couple of Dogs jump on top. And
one of the few times she's been caught today, Gardner, but
yep.
Again, another 1-2. The handball was behind her. She had to reach back. But well done to the Bulldogs. They certainly haven't dropped their bundle from a competitiveness perspective. It's just the running power and probably the composure with ball in hand of the Sydney players that's been the difference.
Hamilton, kick forward. Great grab from Berylson. High up and under kick, puts Hamilton under pressure. And free kick to Hamilton. I think it was a push out. Her kick inside the 50 is good.
Now look at a player like Berylson. Ham will go back and take her time here. Berylson's only had the 12 possessions, 2 goals too, but she's been so influential on this game. And again, that's a reflection of how good the Swans are. Are we going to do a bit of a run past handball here?
We are. Ham did well, got it to Hamilton. And Hamilton, it's off hands, through for a behind.
I'm not sure that would be a set play that you'd draw up normally.
No, very interesting.
Telegraphed a little bit by Ham as part of the run-up. Probably needed a little bit more sleight of hand.
So McLeod is going to take the kick in. She'll get it away as far as possible. There's Kennedy. Rare occasion she hasn't got the ball, but look at this wall, the way they've set up. And Martin intercepts the kick.
Very good positioning as a defender.
And that was a brilliant kick from Martin. Sorry, Mick.
You're right.
Cut off. And it was good positioning from Martin. She was splendid through there, and she's done that a lot today.
A couple of big tackles there from the Bulldogs. I think, was that Montana Ham who dropped that mark? It's uncharacteristic for her.
It was Lexi Hamilton, I think.
Hamilton, yep.
Who got the tap down. Hardingham is going to mop it up.
Good kick.
Bishop set up their first goal earlier. It's a floater. The Swans have the numbers, but the bounce made the Swans players wait. McClay dropped it and then laid a second up tackle on Martin.
There's plenty to be encouraged by with Isadora McClay. I mentioned that she's had a couple of contested marks today. She's quite physical as a key forward, so something for them to really kick to with confidence that the ball's not going to be outmarked.
Tall acquisition up forward. Isadora McClay. Skandaris overruns it. Oh, and that is a huge bump. And could be under some scrutiny there, I think, Lexi Hamilton.
She was competing for the ball.
She was, but I think it's just more the way that that's being looked at in 2024. I don't know. Be interesting to see that back. The kick inside 50 from Milford, dropped by Martin, and it's wrapped up. So
that's one area of the game that the Bulldogs will look at is some of their kicking moving forward. Too often it's just been an indiscriminate long kick going forward, where Sydney have the ability to identify the matchups they want to kick to. That will come with time, and you know, we've spoken at length about the level of AFL talent out there today for Sydney, but they're the little things that can make a big difference for the Bulldogs.
You're exactly right, and it was their problem against North Melbourne as well. They had a lot of inside 50s and a lot of chances early, especially. I think they had the first 4 scores of the game before North really put the pressure on, and they just couldn't get that, utilise their forward entries as the Swans can push forward again. Shepherd waited a long time for the kick. She was taken afterwards, and it's paid downfield. So
yeah, disappointing. That was going to be a turnover. They were going to get the ball back, the Bulldogs. But this is a slow play here, so the Bulldogs defenders or midfielders have time to push back. There's still plenty of space up forward for Sydney, though, as they're just making their way back now, the additional Dogs players.
Gardner took the mark, played on, steadied, and it just drifted across the face. It's the only thing that she hasn't done today, kicked a goal.
Possession number 40, that was.
What a day. She's got 13 minutes to increase that tally.
So 40 disposals, 11 tackles. I think the only thing she hasn't done today is get a hit out.
Yep, or kick a goal, which could still come. Kennedy wraps it up in there. So it's a 53-point buffer at the moment, 9-12-66. Holly Cooper, the star, up forward with 3 goals for Sydney. Szigeti, she's wrapped up but taken high.
And she's maintaining that ratio, Val, that I said at halftime. 1 in 6.5 possessions the Sydney team are having is going to Laura Gardner.
It's ridiculous. So good. And that is clever from Hillier. She gives it to Ham. It's another one. The captain puts one through, and it's almost a goal. Well, it was a goal created by Kiara Hillier with the way that she was able to hit that, and Ham now kicks her third as well.
Yeah, the footy IQ of Hillier there. It's not easy to sum that up and deliver the ball on a plate like she did with that knock-on. But really good football now, football awareness there. And again, they're the things. That's a half chance. And with the clever tap on, that turns into a fairly simple conversion.
Picking up exactly where they left off last year, both Montana Ham and Laura Gardner were in the top 3 in Sydney's best and fairest. Gardner won it, but both of them are the 2 highest rated players on the ground so far. Sensational afternoons Davies gone, holding the ball. The Dogs, to their credit, they have continued to toil hard all afternoon.
That's a good kick. Good mark by Salidas. Coaching staff at three-quarter time were keen for the Bulldogs when they got the ball, not to keep it corridor, but move it wide so they could use their running power.
Snow inside 50. The mark almost taken. Probably should have been. Macleay got it out. The Swans might be able to repel, but that's great forward pressure. Kick forward. Klingbeil just can't get it through.
Needed the leg break, got the off break.
And behind to the Bulldogs. They still haven't registered a goal to the right of screen today. Their two have come to the left, both in the third quarter. And the Swans continue to move at possession. 41 for the leather magnet in Laura Gardner. Brown takes a bounce. A second bounce. Has an opportunity to keep going. The handball didn't really work out for Berylson. It got a weird bounce, but ended up getting it back to Brown, who gets it to Whelan, who goes inside. And another mark for Cynthia Hamilton. She's kicked one today, the Queanbeyan product.
Amy Whelan, as this kick comes again, we see this patience and this...
It's Montana Ham.
The ability to hit up at the footy knowing that you're going to get used is fantastic. But Amy Whelan, she's an amazing user of the ball around the 50-metre line. She can sum it up so quickly. It's an underrated characteristic. And if I looked at, you think in the AFL sphere, Brian Myers is lauded for his ability to find a target. Amy Whelan just has this innate ability to lower her eyes and put the ball out to her teammate's advantage.
And Montana Ham has an innate ability to kick a goal. She's got 4 today. Finished second in the best and fairest. She's in her home state from Keilor and Hillside in Melbourne's northwest. And she is putting on a clinic. The 1-2 in the Swans best and fairest. Laura Gardner and Montana Ham destroying the Bulldogs. The margin is 64, Mick O'Neill.
Yeah, she's really built into this game, Montana Ham, as you would expect a player of her quality. 19 possessions. She's had the 4 marks, kicked the 4 goals and 6 tackles to go along with Laura Gardner, who's had the 11 tackles and the 41 possessions.
4 clearances as well for Ham, who has been mighty today. What a captain's effort.
Finishing with a flurry here. 3 goals already in this last quarter, Sydney. You suspect there's 2 or 3 more on the table.
8 minutes to go. And the kick from Mailer, touched. They would have loved that, the Bulldogs, just to continue to show some fight, but just touched off the boot. It did go through, but just epitomises the afternoon.
She was calling for the goal review, but unfortunately we don't have that here.
No. The Swans will move it out. Hamilton can't take the mark. Brown did well. Hamilton gets it again, just seemingly having endless amounts of time. Brown tackled, Shepherd goes in there and she's wrapped up and ensures that that doesn't go anywhere. So a 63-point margin. I think there's so many positives for Sydney moving forward. And Davies went up in the ruck on her own. No one nominated.
Should ball this up. We just see the quality of the Sydney side. Amy Whelan came off for a spell on the interchange bench, replaced by Laura Gardner there. It's a very handy changeover.
So the kick forward, Kennedy's going to get there again. Just so strong, so much poise. Goes over Davies' head. Shepherd, who's had a pretty good last quarter. That is a really good kick. They can move it on. Berylson, she's going to take a bounce through the middle of the ground. She can handball. No, she can just run around her opponent and take another bounce. The kick inside 50. Looking for Ham, who should run onto it. And kick 8-5th. 3 goals in the final quarter for Montana Ham. And this is some sort of a display from the Sydney captain.
Yeah, exhilarating through the middle of the ground then. Some real confidence from Berylson, almost almost arrogance in the way that she took on the player then and took another bounce. And once she got that long kick inside 50, you were always favouring Ham in that marking contest. The most important thing is that she kept her feet after the initial marking contest, and then it was just a matter of the simple conversion for a fifth goal. She's got a handful today. 3 multiple goal kickers accounting for 10 goals, and she's the cream of the crop.
Someone that's gone into the midfield and done a really good job as well. Montana Ham. Kennedy just barging and bulldozing through. Spoiled away. Porcino, Solitis, it's high, it's up, it's under. Nobody went for the mark. It sort of dropped in between everybody's legs. The handball came away and Jamie Tabb. Could have very well been.
Just reflect on the willingness of the AFLW players to play in this VFL season. Clearly, they're all just competitors. They love playing the game. So I've had the opportunity to speak to a number of players who are mixing playing up with their training duties. But if they're given the option themselves, players, they'll always play. And you can see the enthusiasm. Look at this coming through the contest.
Yep, you're exactly right. And I think that you don't get any, like, you can train all you want, but getting that match practice and that match fitness, it's a different art form, isn't it, Mick?
It is, and a number of the coaches have spoken about the development opportunities that the VFLW competition affords their elite players, trying them in new positions, giving them that game sense that you just can't recreate at training. A big collision there.
Huge. And down at the moment.
A real...
It's Hardingham. She's okay, I think.
Yeah, some real camaraderie from her opponent there. As soon as that clash happened, I think it might be Hamilton was quick to go down and assist.
So, Hardingham with the handball. She's coming off. The kick is good. And the mark is good as well. Ellie Bishop.
Best passage of play, ball movement-wise, they've had for the game. Ellie Bishop's been a willing competitor today. Set up one of the goals in the third quarter. It'd be good to see her get reward. First mark they've taken out in the lead.
The margin 69. Is it going to be 63? Just 68.
Again, Kennedy. What a defender she is. A luxury to have as a Sydney teammate. She just helps out as the extra player so often.
And just their ability to hold their marks today as well, Sydney. It's been monumental. Margin 68 points, 84 to 16, 24 scoring shots to 6. Quite remarkable.
The Grundon fan club down next to us here, really happy with that passage of play. Going to spread this kick wide, and if it sits, they're away, Sydney.
It should sit. Doesn't quite enough. So the Dogs managed to wrap it up. Will we see another goal? We've got 3 minutes to go in this final term. We know the Swans are going to get the job done. The tap down. Kick towards the 50, over everybody's head. Porcino trying to corral it. She's held. They want a holding free kick. She does it all herself, does really well. Gets it to Solitis, who handballs along the ground, but it's not going to come out well. I think it might.
It was a scoop.
Ooh.
And it is tough call. I think it was Eliza Vale was just trying to tap the ball out in front of herself. Just got too much purchase on it.
Yeah, I know.
Almost did too well. Umpire was right in the perfect position to view that.
So Trinity Skenderis, 7 disposals last week for the 20-year-old in her first game of the season. This is her second. Can she finish with a goal?
I think she has a tendency to sort of go right of the mark to get a bit more sling in the kick. We'll see what she does here. Oh, well done.
Touched on the line, I believe, maybe? No, goal. Wasn't much of a celebration early, but the goal umpire put the 2 fingers out, and the Dogs get their third and their first of the final term, 3-4-22. The Swans 12-12, 84 margin at 62 points. Mick O'Neill.
Yeah, terrific reward for effort for Skenderis then. Her celebration, once she knew it was going through, was fantastic. She's got some fans up on the hill there. Terrific crowd here today, Val. Great support for both sides, and clearly with the gather round focusing on Adelaide and South Australia this week, there's great opportunity to come and watch football in Melbourne.
And no VFL either because the state game is currently on at the moment. Gardner gets it out, possibly her final disposal of the day, who knows. McCarthy kicks forward. Holly Cooper doing really well. Back to McCarthy. Inside 50. Davies can't take the mark. Boozerville goes in. And we're going to get a ball up. So we've got 45 seconds on the clock.
That was possession number 42 for Gardner. Just a shout out to Hardingham for the Dogs. 26 hit-outs and 21 possessions is a monumental effort.
Cooper got it out. The kick almost to Grundon. Going in there, Berylson doing really well. Steps around one, steps around another. And holding.
Advantage should be paid. No.
Was it paid? Should have been.
That was continuous, but the free kick was paid a long way off the ball.
Yeah.
It's going to be Berylson was held too long in the tackle. Time's going to run out here to get the ball back. So she'll have to have imagine a torpedo shot after the siren.
So there is the siren. I'm not sure if she's going to go for one.
It's good for a possession, though, anyway.
Yeah, exactly right.
This will be possession number 17. She's kicked 2 goals, 2 today, and been a dominant force through the high half-forward role that she plays.
Montana Berylson.
This would be one to talk about in the rooms afterwards. She's going to kick from about 47 metres. I'm hoping she goes the torpedo.
Go for the barrel. Montana Berylson. I don't think she's going for it. Gone with a drop punt. It's going to land short. But the Sydney Swans enjoy a wonderful maiden Rebel VFLW contest. They win it 12-12-84 to 3-4-22. It was clinical. It was precise. It was brutal. They were sensational. They win by 62 points. Mick O'Neill, the goal kickers for the day for the Swans. Well, it was Montana Ham with 5 in an absolutely splendid display by the captain. Holly Cooper with 3, Montana Berylson with 2, Cynthia Hamilton and Senna Goulden with 1. For the Dogs, Skenderis, Solitis and Pulcino all with 1 each. What about some of the player disposals for the game?
Yeah, if Laura Gardner was paid per mention today, she'd go home a very rich person.
Well, depends on how much she was paid.
42 possessions, kicked the one behind. That was the only thing missing on the score sheet. 14 tackles, a complete performance. We spoke about her at length in the second half, but Tanya Kennedy with the 21 possessions as a defender. Shepherd also had the 21 possessions, 20 possessions and 5 goals for Montana Ham. And we mentioned Hardingham. Keely Hardingham for the Western Bulldogs, 21 possessions, 26 hit-outs, the 4 tackles. That was a really promising performance as a ruckman. But really, the story of the day was the dominance of the Sydney team. We expected that coming into the game with the richness of talent that they had from their AFLW list playing today. And it really was, Val, it was a privilege to watch today. A great opportunity to focus on this particular game. The Western Bulldogs, I'm sure they'll walk away with some really valuable lessons, and they hit back in the second half.